Hey guys, how are you doing? My name's Lee. I make cute clay stuff. In this video, I'm gonna show you how I made these two characters, Mango Boy and Mr. Strawberry. So I made the original pieces using polymer clay. Then I made a plaster mold, and in the end I used air dry clay for the final pieces. So let's get into it. First, let's make the original piece using polymer clay. You can also use air dry clay if you want, but since I'm going to make a plaster mold afterward, I think polymer clay is more reliable. You don't need to worry about the moisture from the plaster damaging the original piece. I did a sketch of the two figures beforehand. Nothing too detailed, just a simple idea to guide me. I didn't plan to include many details, but I still wanted the characters to have a clear feeling. So I gave Mango Boy a green vest with a red bow tie and some blue sweatpants. And he has one hand inside his pocket. So I wanted him to feel like this quiet, introverted guy with a sense of style. Really chill, really stylish, but very relaxed. A very relaxed Mango Boy doing his own thing. Now Mr. Strawberry, our little strawberry man. He's wearing a pink sweater, black shorts, and yellow socks. I'd say he also has a pretty nice sense of style. And as for Miss Strawberry, I want him to look like a tough little guy with a big attitude, but he has a short temper. He gets angry very easily because he's a very supportive guy. He just cares a lot. So now we have the original pieces. But before baking them, I usually go over them with isopropyl alcohol just to smooth out the surface a bit. Once the original pieces are baked and lightly sanded, we can now move on to making the mold. So first I mark the center line, then I cover one side of the back with plasticine. You can use just the regular kids plasticine, it works pretty fine. So this is going to be the first half of the mold, but before pulling plaster, I always coat everything with Vaseline so it doesn't stick. So this is going to be a very simple two-part mold, since both characters are in neutral poses, so it will be actually quite easy to make. I just pour plaster on one side first, then flip it over and do the other side. Although I still managed to mess it up twice because I got impatient. So yeah, patience really saves you time. When both sides of the plaster are dry, we can then go ahead and open it to take out the original pieces. Mango Boy turned out really well. The mold came out clean with no big air bubbles. Mr. Strawberry lost one side of his scarf, but the mold turned out quite good, so I was pretty happy. Before making the final copies, remember to put a thin layer of baby powder to the mold so the clay won't stick to the plaster. Then I take some air dry clay, just simply press it into the mold and shape it so it fills both halves evenly. Before pressing the two halves together, I always add a bit of water to help them bond. The rubber band is also very helpful in preventing the two parts from moving. I usually leave the piece in the mold for about a day. After a day, it's not completely dry yet, but you can already take it out and make some adjustment. If you wait until it becomes too dry inside the mold, it will be much harder to adjust. I love how they look right after popping out of the mold. They look just like cookies, don't you think? Air dry clay is very forgiving. If there's any imperfections, you can simply add a little water and fix them easily. What I don't really like to do is sanding air dry clay too much. I actually love the rough texture it naturally has. Now the pieces are completely dry. Before painting, I like to brush on a few layers of gesso. Gesso creates a nice surface for the acrylic paint to stick better and also helps protect the piece from future damage. Okay friends, we are finally at the last step, painting. I'm using acrylic gouache because I like the matte finish. Sometimes I'm mixing a little acrylic paint for a bit of shine. And I also use color chalk to add some extra details. Painting is always my favorite part of the process. It's the moment when the characters really start to come to life. And I usually leave the face until the very end because when you add the eyes and the piece is finally complete, it just feels really magical. And now let's just enjoy some calm painting moments. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like or a comment. It really helps me out. Thank you again for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!